Okay, guys, hello. It's August. It's a new month. It's a new goals where everybody starts at zero in this business. It's like, okay, start fresh, start new. Here we go. And I'm just excited when a new month comes because we get to get refocused and realigned back to what our goals were, what our goals are, set new goals for ourselves. And I decided to do this training based on what the energy and the aura that I am seeing in you guys, in our conversations, in the chat, and what I believe that we probably need to work on as a community, because we have so many resources available to us in our team page, and so many topics and so many things we can always refer back to. So I wanted to gear this around being your authentic self. And we do talk about that a lot, but when we start to create content, when we show up for our business, when we're making a post or sharing on our stories, we can overthink things to a T. Like sometimes we get very in our head about things, or we, really get a kind of like just overthink, and it's a curse, you guys. I think I say overthinking is a curse because when we were growing up, or how we are conditioned as human beings, the way we believed, and when we were children growing up, like we're average coming into this business, right? We are not conditioned to think big and dream big and have a big mindset. And we're conditioned to not think we're worthy, or to not think that we're capable of achieving massive success. And, it comes down to teaching yourself and rethinking on what we need to do to grow our business, because we can't think small and we can't have a small mindset around it. So when I get to overthinking, because I used to overthink a lot, but today I don't as much, because I have learned to show up as my authentic self. Because if I'm being myself, and if I'm sharing my personality and sharing what feels good to me and what I'm passionate about, it's not icky, right? It's not, I'm not overthinking it because I'm being myself, if that makes sense. So you have to catch yourself when you're overthinking, guys. And I want you to think of a thing or a topic or something that you're passionate about, something that you truly believe in, something that lights your fire. And it doesn't have to be about the business. Think outside, thrive. What is something that you absolutely love so much? Something that you believe in, something that that you're passionate about. Think about that and share that. Share that with your audience and start to find your power place, so that you can let people see, okay, she's human. She does have a passion for something else, because you want to have that connection. You want to make sure you are sharing more than just the business and products. Like, we've got that down pat. So you have to create your own truth when you do that, because that's something that you love, something that you're passionate about. Because I was talking with my sister, she's also a part of the tribe. And she was like, I think I want to sound a certain way when I'm sharing posts, or when I'm on my story, or when I'm talking about the products. I have to throw in things to sound professional, or have to do this to sound a certain way. You want to make it sound like you. And it's trial and error, because you're not going to sound perfect every time, but you want to let people see your mistakes. You want to let people see you authentic. And, what is your power place? What is that thing you're passionate about? And what does your heart tell you about this business? Where do you believe that you're going to go because of this business? Does your gut and does your intuition tell you that you're going to go far, that you're going to be successful, that you're going to have that big dream house and those dreams? And if that's what your heart tells you, that means you're home. That means you're in the right place. That means you're aligned, and you have to keep going and show up as you. And we all got started in this business for our why. We all have a why in this business, and it's not someone else's why. We started this business because of X, Y, and Z, fill in the blank. And you have to know that's your passion. That's your power place. And that's going to make you show up as yourself, because it's like, okay, I know my passion. I know this is what I'm here to do. I know this was where it's going to take me. And this is the why that's going to fuel that every day. So you have to validate yourself. You as a woman, as a mom, as a business owner, you can't seek that validation from others. So, this, when we're overthinking, when we're really in our head about something when it comes to our business, I think it's because we are seeking validation from something, or because we want that approval, or that, someone to clap for us, whatever that is. And I need you guys to be that woman and step into that power place and say, I'm going to validate myself. I validate my why, I validate my passion, and I validate who I am, because you are the sauce. You have to be the one to say, this is what I'm here for. And not seek that from something external, because what we have inside of us, guys, is already set up for us to win. We already have what it takes to run a six-figure $1 million organization. Like, we already have that in us, because that's what we're running towards. That's the big why. That's the big vision. So when we get there, it's gonna, like, you have to realize you did this. You created that. Everything that you have today, guys, the gratitude, the personal development, everything you have in your life is because you put in the work. So you have to validate why you're here and why you continue to go, because nobody's going to come and knocking on your door to say, hey, I'm so proud of you. Hey, you did it. Hey, this is X, Y, and Z. You have to be that runner. You have to be that bold woman. So, I also wanted to talk a little bit about content and a little bit about where to start with that, because I had some people come to me about it. And this is what I did, and this is what I still do to this day. If you have trouble with posting, or you have trouble with sharing the business or opportunity, I want you to put on a badass podcast and sit down for 20 minutes and batch out different posts, 5 to 6 posts. And to me, that helps me be myself. That helps me, because I find my fire when I'm hearing positive things and positive vibes. I put my personality into it, because I'm listening to something motivational and something that is so on fire. So it gets me lit. It gets my wheels turning, and I get to start thinking about where I'm going. And I put that in my content. So I put that into my notes section, 5 or 6 posts ready to go for the week. And, I wanted to also share about storytelling, you guys. You all have to be brave. You have to have a lot of courage to tell your story. And I want you to think back to 2005, 2010, over 10 years ago, some things that you have went through in your life, and story tell that to your audience. Talk about those hard things you had to overcome, the way you felt, what you did to overcome it, what actually happened, your belief in your truth, because that's what's going to connect people to you, those pain points, right? That connection, that vulnerability, it opens up that connection with people, because they're like, okay, she went through a hard time. That's what I went through last week. Does that make sense? So storytelling is the way we get paid in this business. It creates that connection with people. And no, it might not be an enrollment that day, but they're going to be in your inbox and they're going to say, wow, that was so inspirational. Like, I really needed to hear that. Because the thing is, some people get caught up in thinking that people might want to seek pity from them because they're sharing about a struggling time. No, sis, you're going to share about this struggling time and what you had to overcome, but also a solution on the back end of it. You want to talk about how you overcame it, what it is that you learned from, right? It's not like we're brain dumping our problems onto our social media. We're talking about a story. We're telling what we went through and how we overcame it and what we learned from it and the solution behind it, if that makes sense. It's telling that story to people so that they see, hey, you are so inspirational, you're so helpful. It creates that connection. So, this process, guys, in your business, it's not going to be easy, but that's why it's so important to listen to what's in your heart and to listen to what's in your gut, because there's 2 things, guys, in the books that I'm reading Thriving book that I read from Jason, and in this new book I'm reading that I've caught is similar, and it's they listened to their gut and their intuition. As entrepreneurs, you are not going to have it together. You are not going to succeed when you want. You're going to have rejections. You're going to have to overcome a lot of hard things. And you have to listen to what your gut is telling you. If you are at a crossroads, or if you feel stuck, or you just feel kind of stagnant, you have to be the one to get creative, and you have to be the one to say, okay, I validate my dreams. I'm going to validate my hard work because I am here for the long haul, right? And becoming that woman, because guys, when you are in the process of becoming, what you go through is the sauce of it, like the no's, the people walking away in your business, the rejection, the judgmental people are going to be judgmental because you're in MLMs or whatever it is. The scenario still remains, right? It's someone else's issue. It's a them thing. You have to be bold enough to say, I am here, right? I'm serious about my business, and know your why. And guys, I've had this last month, I had some things go wrong in my business, and it was new levels, new devils kind of thing. You have to look forward to the growth and to the failures of being in this business, because you're going to fail. You're going to fall short. You're not going to have it together, and you're going to not re-rank. You're going to not maintain. You're going to not maybe get your product credit for the month. I didn't earn product credit for over 6 months, but I stayed, I don't want to say consistent. I persisted, because that's hard, you guys. The feelings that we go through in this business is very hard. And the process of becoming is very hard, because you feel all these emotions, but that gut, that intuition, that guiding light, that God inside says to keep going, because of the success stories that you see, because of your why, because of the reason you started in the first place. And yes, I love that, Kendra. It is like, you're building character, you're building that foundation, and you have to suck. You have to suck first. Period. In your lives, and in the way you show up. It's just not everyone's gonna like your posts, not everyone's gonna comment. Is that what you're going to take to the bank when you pay your mortgage? You know what I'm saying? Like, it has to be bigger. So I also want to talk about storytelling and the posts, making sure your posts, guys, come from your heart. They are your words and your words only. So we always get ideas from other leaders. We have so many resources in our team page, but I keep thinking about this conversation with Sis, because she was just like, I get so caught up in trying to sound professional or trying to sound like a certain way. You guys have to sound like Dusty, like Jamie, like Linda, like Kayla. You have to sound like you. The way you speak to someone in person, the way that you would speak and have a conversation with someone if they were right in front of you, right? So it's so good, because you're going to fall. It's not always going to sound like you want it. It's always not, we may get all the likes in the world, but you have to go through that. So yeah, your authentic self is so important, because it's going to bring you to your dreams. Your authenticity is going to make your business successful. And that's the root of it, because that's how we grow here. And yes, that's it. Like, your all's validation is within yourself, right? If you catch yourself overthinking, or you're like, man, I'm scared to go live, or I don't have enough likes on this. Oh, I didn't get a poll vote on this. Think about how silly that sounds when you're talking about your why, when you're talking about the vision that you have and where you're going to be in 3 years. Like, you're not going to think about the people that didn't vote on your poll when you're sitting in your dream house. Like, you have to think bigger. And posting daily, active on your stories daily, and just the 10 things I wanted to touch on, you guys, is 10 things a day I'm writing down on a piece of paper, and I'm checking them off every day. I'm going to start this month just to see how it goes. This is something new that I'm trying, and it's trial and error. So you can try this or try doing like a to-do list, post-it notes. Try something new this month where you get structure in your day, or where you want to switch it up. because for me, this is new and I get to see like what I need to do every day. And it's a list and I'm able to check things off. So do a 1 through 10, make your bed, drink your water, do your 3 steps, 20 minutes of interactions. Some of them don't even have to be business related. Do an exercise for 10 minutes, stretch, do some yoga, whatever it is. It's different each day. I get a new piece of paper each day and I mark them off. It shows my progress. It keeps me accountable and it's really helping. So I wanted to share that with you guys. Yes, that new habit. I think that's huge because we have to evolve. We have to evolve. And you want to look forward to those new things that you're trying because we could always be doing more, if that makes sense. Like, oh, we're doing all the things. We're doing all the things. We could always be doing more. And this gets you grounded in that routine and that structure, just 10 things a day, the smallest things, just to keep you focused. You know, it makes me feel good when I make my bed, guys. Find the things that make you feel good, that make you feel fulfilled. You accomplish something. The first task of the day is done. Your bed's made. That just makes you feel like, okay, I'm ready to do the next thing. So I hope that helps. Very intentional. Yes. And, you know, like I'm going to go back to the beginning of rethinking and relearning, guys, because like I said, when we started our business, we did not have the big dreams. We're not conditioned to think big. We're not conditioned to think vision casting and long term. So I want you guys to be coachable and teach yourself how to think bigger, how to think of adding value and learning and evolving, because that's what's going to bring you to that next level. It's going to bring you to that next development, to that next growth, to that next level of leadership, because every single one of us are leaders. And for you to say, okay, I may not have it figured out now, but I'm going to think big long term and start to step into that power place. Like I said, guys, that power place is so huge because, like, for me, I'm passionate about recovery and my story is addiction. That's just an example. Think back on your life of something you were so passionate about, something that you would go toe to toe with someone about because you know what you know, and it's your truth, and it's what you love, and it's what you believe in. Think of that power place and you use that. Share that with your audience and tell them, like, guys, this is on my heart to share with you all today. And this is what I went through. And just build that connection. Show them that you're human and really that's so relatable to people. And it's not because, you want to get an enrollment. Like I said, you never know the back end of a conversation and the intention of someone being in your inbox. If it's not like, hey, what are the 3 steps or what do you do? Like, people are in your inbox to connect with you and you're in their inbox to connect with them. So when you share that story and when you tell other people what you've went through, that's the key that unlocks that connection. You're like, okay, like, I'm keep building these connections. I'm letting people into my life. I'm letting them see what I do and what all I have been through. It's not so much of like something like your private life, guys. We want to draw a line with that. We want to make sure we don't share every bit of our life, but the things that's on your heart, that you've went through, that you had to overcome, that maybe it was depression, maybe it was a season of just complete just brokenness, and you had nothing to turn to and you were just in a dark place. Maybe it was mental health, anxiety, or, something with family, or, I'm just throwing things out there, just something that you can share and be like, okay, like, I'm going to be vulnerable this month. I'm going to be bold this month. And I'm going to show people that I'm human and that I have a lifeboat, because I always follow up in some way of sharing this business, because it's given me purpose, right? Because I am so on fire for this opportunity. And I always talk about the community in some way, or the financial aspect of it in some way, or the growth part of it in some way. Does that make sense? Yes, Kendra. Yes. Like, and it's not easy because you're like, well, because we all think we don't have enough to share about. Our lives aren't cool. Like, we don't go on vacation. We're not on a plane. We're not flying first class. We don't have the best life. And like I told my sister, I built to 40K in the home of my Nana, living with my Nana, like an old grandma, like staying home all day. Like, I did it. And I just had that vulnerability with them. And I'd get on a hands-free or on a live, and I would share from my heart. And I would say things like, being a single mom, that's something I'm very passionate about, because I have conviction with that. Right. I've had a lot of struggle attached to that. And there are single moms on my social media, and they get to see that. Does that make sense? So I just kind of like to let people know nothing is going to stop me from sharing my story and being vulnerable, because that's what we're here to do. I've learned so many things about storytelling in different ways. Sometimes it might be on a post, guys, and breaking your posts up so they're readable, and talking about a season you were in, or talking about, something that's very, that sets you on fire. I mean, it doesn't have to be something that's really bad or negative, but something you believe in. What are those values and things you believe in that you want to share about, that that there's passion in, that you're going to really light someone's fire by sharing it? And, when you post, guys, and when you share your content, you don't overthink it, because that is going to keep you from so many connections, and you're going to suck, like I said in the beginning. And if you've been here for a while, you know that it is a journey, and you know what to do. And I think it's just so important that we teach ourselves to believe in our story, to believe in ourselves, to believe in that connection, because we weren't conditioned that way before we started. We are like backtracking. We're relearning and reteaching ourselves to think bigger, to think vulnerable, to think bold, and leadership. I like to show people on my social media what it would look like to link arms with me too. I think that's a great way to build connections, and, talk about, a boot camp that I have started, or talk about the women in my team that I get to do one-on-ones with, the stories that we get to talk about, and share, my passion in why they started, share a little bit about their stories, and, talk about them. So showing people what it looks like to link arms with you, to letting people see inside of your leadership world, like, what is it? What are you, like a leader? Like, what are some things you believe in? What are some ways you build your team? Or what are some ways you inspire them? Do you do trainings? Do you do fun giveaways? Do you talk about their success stories and things like that? Because that is a connection right there. So a lot of this was mainly, like connection and stuff. And I love that. Kendra, reprogramming, that's what I'm getting at. Yes, reprogramming, relearning all the things that we were taught our whole life, because we went through so many things growing up, growing in high school and coming out of school and college, and the path we were on wasn't entrepreneurship. We just stumbled across this business, and here we are. Like, our lives are changed, and like, we're on Zooms now, and we're on team pages, and we have all these things. And it's like, well, let's talk about the connection. Let's talk about why we started, and what we can bring to someone's life. And, that storytelling, being vulnerable, people are going to remember that. People are going to remember you telling your story, being bold, because if they go through a hard season, or if something triggers them to think of it, they're going to be like, oh yeah, Sonia told me about that time. That I remember now. Like, storytelling and that connection is so much bigger than just the details and the facts, right? So I'm so excited, guys, for August. We're here. We are in a new month. Our tracker's back at 0. We're restarting, we're realigning, and it's good. It feels good, because whatever happened in July is in July. Like, we are tunnel vision, right? We are looking ahead. We're going to look at whose lives we can change. And I broke it down this month, and every 2 weeks I'm going to do VIP 1600. So I'm challenging myself to do 4 the first 2 weeks and 4 the last 2 weeks of promoters and customers. I really want to see what happens, to see where it goes. And I think it's going to be a good month. Yes. I'm excited, Dusty. I love it. Okay. Well, you guys were great. I'm going to stop recording.